Thinking about sapphire engagement ring, then this video is just for you, because in order to make a right decision when you buy in the natural sapphire, you need to know quite a lot of things, and we're gonna go through them. At the end of the video, you will see why prices are so different for sapphires. Some can go for $500 per carat, some can go for $10,000 per carat. Why there is such a difference between the different sapphires, the one from Sri Lanka or the one from Madagascar. And you will see why they graded by the different labs too, because sometimes you will see the sapphires from AGL, sometimes from GIA, and you might not even know how to compare them. So in order to get what you paid for, invest next 15 minutes watching this video and learning all the essential things about the sapphires. To choose the right sapphire, you need to understand 6 key things: color, clarity, brilliance, cut, treatment, and origin. All of those things going to affect how sapphire looks, how much it costs, and importantly, how it makes you feel. And before we're gonna go into the origin of the stone, let's talk about the 5 physical qualities that always comes first. Color is the biggest factor in the value of sapphire. That's the reason why we buy it in the first place. And it doesn't matter whether you buy the blue one, yellow, or any other colors. There is a plenty of them out there. The main thing that you want to make sure is that your stone is not too light, it's not too dark, because the darker stone just going to look pretty dull overall, that there is no additional hues in your color. For example, you buy the blue stone, you don't want to see greenish, brownish hues in that stone unless you really want them, because there is a very beautiful blue-green sapphires, one of my favorites out there. So you want to make sure that the color is right. And the key thing over here is to understand that the color affected by the light a lot. Our perception of the color is affected by the light. So when you do buy the stone, and most likely you're going to be buying the stone online, always ask your seller to give you the video and the photos that was done under the natural light, not under the artificial or LED light like this one, for example. Because if the stone is pretty dark, you can put a lot of light into it, especially when you take in the photo, and almost any stone going to look great. But that's not how you're going to wear it. You're going to wear it under the daylight or inside of the room, and you want to make sure that the stone is still look very good. Second thing that we're looking at is the clarity, and we're not treating sapphire as diamond. We're not trying to look for all the little inclusions over there and think that it's going to affect the price. As long as we don't see the inclusion with a naked eye, it's all good. The inclusions doesn't affect the sapphire as much as, say, the diamond. But at the same time, you don't want to have the clouds in the stone or the big inclusions, because they're going to affect the stone in this case, and it's going to be lifeless. Next is brilliance, and the sapphire doesn't spark as the diamonds, they glow. The best sapphire glows from within, and the main factor that is affecting that is the cut. So we have to talk about those 2 things at the same time. Sapphires usually doesn't have the official cut grading, similarly as the fancy diamonds. Look out there at the certificates of the oval diamonds, you're only going to see 3 C's. Oval shapes doesn't have the cut grading. Instead, you need to look for the right ratio. The ratio of the width and length. It should be somewhere between 1.3 and 1.5. That's the ideal spot. And you also need to look for depth. That should be about 60 to 70%. Otherwise, the stone going to be either too flat or too deep, which means it's going to be too dark. So again, coming back to the brilliance. The brilliance primarily affected by the cut of the stone, similarly to the diamonds. Yes, it can be affected by the inclusion, but you have to have a lot of them. Primarily, it's going to be affected by the quality of the cut. You need to know the basics, but at the same time, when you do buy the stone, you're probably not buying it on your own. So ask your jeweler what he thinks about this specific stone. The fifth thing to look for is treatment. Let's be real, most of the sapphires are heat treated. It's pretty normal and acceptable when it's stated in the certificate or in the bill of sale. You don't want to pay for the heat treated sapphire as for not heat treated. So make sure you check in on that. Avoid the stones that are glass filled or surface diffused. It's just not a quality stones. They are not durable. You're not going to be happy with those. Again, it should be stated in the certificates, and we're going to talk about it later in this video. Or if your stone doesn't have the certificate, you need to ask direct question to the jeweler, and that's their job to be honest with you and to check those things. Now let's talk about the origin, and the origin is the huge part when you buy in the sapphire. For example, in diamonds, it doesn't really matter. All the diamonds are pretty much the same no matter where they're coming from. In the case of the sapphire, the way it looks and how much it costs is going to be affected by the origin a lot. So let's go quick through the main sources. First of all, Kashmir sapphires. Those are legendary right now, extremely hard to find, to buy, cost a fortune, at least $8,000 per carat, most of the time 30,000 or so. They were relatively accessible in 80s and 90s. Not really anymore. When you go and to see the Kashmir sapphire, you would see why people love it. It has very expensive velvet blue color. It comes from the silk inclusions that gives the stone soft, glowy look. Why you might choose Kashmir sapphire? Well, first of all, your budget is allowing you to do so, and you want the legendary stone that is going to go up in price. It's actually incredibly good investment. When we're talking about Kashmir sapphire, those stone has to be certified by AGL with all the details about the colors and hues and everything else treatment. Unfortunately, I saw lots of the sellers who is selling this recently found Kashmir sapphire for close to nothing. That's obviously a scam. It's not gonna happen if it costs less than $8,000, probably something wrong with it. Next one is Sri Lankan Ceylon sapphire. This one is very easy to associate because it's very bright and very colorful. If you want to combine the sapphire with the diamond and the budget is allowing at the same time, that would be the best choice. Besides the other sapphire, this one a little bit lighter, a little bit more glowy, sparkly, playful. It does stand out overall. And it has very unique color too. It's called cornflower tone. Check out this flower and you will see what I'm talking about. Again, if you want to have the most amount of brilliance and light color and you want to combine it with the diamond, Ceylon is the way to go. Madagascar, currently probably the best place to get the sapphire because it's right on the intersection of the price and the quality of the stone. Madagascar sapphires right now quite often surpass the Ceylon sapphires, but at the same time cost significantly less. So you're paying more for the color and the quality of the stone and less for the origin. Also, there is plenty of them out there. You can find pretty much any color, any hue and tone. And also you can find a lot of custom cutted stones. So you can find the unique shapes throughout the Madagascar sapphires in general. Next one is Myanmar or Burma. Those sapphires actually very close to the Kashmir sapphires, but tend to be a little bit darker. So when you buy the stone from that region, ask your seller to make a video under the natural light, because again, they tend to be darker than the Kashmir sapphire. But on the good side, the color, the richness of the blue color is still there for significantly lower price. Another thing that you have to be aware about the Burma sapphires is that the political situation in the country is not stable, and you will see a lot of not ethically sourced stones from that specific country. So be aware of that. In this situation, I would recommend to work with a jeweler who knows the region, who has the connection over there, and who buy from the sources that he trusts, and he can name them to you. Next one is the Australian sapphires. Those usually have like a navy colors, blue, greenish colors. Relatively affordable, goes around $600–800 per carat. Tend to be darker, so again you'll see plenty of beautiful photos made under the studio lights, but ask them to make the photo under the natural light. Sapphires from the Australia quite unique. They have this very bold combination of colors. Just check them out. That might be the thing for you, and if you looking to stand out, that could be one of the best choices. Next one is the Montana sapphires. There's a lot of fans of Montana sapphires. Generally, they are pretty small. It's actually hard to find the big stone. They tend to be under 1.52 carats. They tend to have very soft colors like a pastel green or blue. Some of them actually shift the colors under the different lighting, not close to the alexandrite, but still you can see that little shift. Montana sapphires usually bought for their origin and ethical sourcing. It's 100% ethical sourcing, and you're going to pay the premium for that. So for example, if you will remove the origin completely, the sapphire from Thailand of the similar color would be significantly more affordable than the Montana sapphire. But Montana sapphires has their fans. Most of the times when we make their engagement rings with them, the clients specifically want to have the Montana sapphire and nothing else. They have a fan base. I know it's a lot of information, so let's summarize. Kashmir sapphires, legendary and rare. Ceylon sapphires, bright and classic, looks great next to the diamonds. Madagascar sapphires, affordable and beautiful. Burma, saturated and bold, and as I said, a little bit darker than the Kashmir sapphires, a little bit more affordable and still have this bold color. Australians, dark navy blue and different, very unique and different from anything else. And the Montana sapphires, unique and ethically sourced. So for each preference, you have a choice. Certification of sapphires. This is a very important topic because it's a little bit more complicated than, let's say, certification of the diamonds. In case of the diamonds, most of the time you're going to have the GIA certificate. It's pretty easy to learn how to read it. I have actually a separate video, check it out. In the case of the sapphires, you might have few different certifications. Most of the time, you're going to have AGL for relatively expensive stones. You might also have GIA. You can have GRS certification, and few small local Asian labs can be present as well. That's GDT or BGL, or a few others. I'm gonna walk you through all of them. First of all, AGL, American Gemology Laboratory. This one is the most detailed certificate you'll find out there. It's going to talk about the origin of the stone, which is incredibly important, as we spoke. Is going to talk about whether the stone was treated or not and how. It's going to talk about the color, cut, quality of the polishing, the hues, the additional tone that is present in the color, and a few other things. Basically, by looking at this certificate, you will understand what kind of stone is in front of you. And lots of the time, it's actually more important than the picture itself, because again, the picture can be adjusted, but the numbers on the certificate is going to tell you what stone are you buying exactly if you know how to read it. The next one is the GIA certificate, and this one is a little bit more simple, and for some people it would be a surprising news to hear, but the GIA is going to tell you only three things. First of all, and it's quite important thing, that you are about to buy the natural sapphire, not a lap stone. It's going to say that specifically. Second thing is going to talk about the origin, where is the sapphire coming from, or where they think it's coming from. And the third thing is going to tell you whether it was heat treated or not, or treated treated in any other form. The GIA certificates not mentioning the color. GIA doesn't grade the color itself. It's only going to tell you those three things and the size of the stone. That's it. Next one is the Gem Research Swiss Lab, GRS. Those certificates very detailed and they're gonna tell you everything about the stone, about the cuts, colors, the treatment, the origin, everything. Burma and Kashmir sapphires quite often comes with those certificates. And there's a plenty of other certificates that are maybe less readable than the one that I just mentioned, but still good to have. It's much better to have them than not to have them. Most of the time you're going to see two labs, GDT and BGL. Pretty straightforward to read, and they have all information that you need before purchasing the sapphire. Why there is so many different certificates, you might ask? That's simply because of the price of the stone. If let's say you're looking at the stone that is under $1,000, then you're going to have local Asian labs that is grading this stone, or you might not even have the certificate at all. Then in this case you would need to rely on opinion of the jeweler who's selling you the stone. On the opposite side, if let's say your stone costs somewhere between $1,000 and $2,500, most of the time it will come with the GIA certificate. It's just going to confirm that this is the actual thing that you're buying, that's the actual sapphire, it's treated or not treated, and that it comes from that specific region. That's pretty much all you need to know in this price range. But if your sapphire goes for over $2,500 up to $8,000, as I mentioned, they can go up to $30,000, then in this case you definitely need either AGL or GRS certificate. As the conclusion, how to choose the perfect sapphire engagement ring. First of all, choose the jeweler that you trust to. Make sure you're choosing the person who is knowledgeable in the topic and who can guide you through all of the possible options, who can explain you the origins, the colors, the certificates, what to look for, and all of those things. At the same time, second thing that you need to do is to do your own research. After you watch this video, go deeper into the topic. For example, out of all of the sapphires that you saw in this video, you liked Madagascar sapphires. Go and research them deeper. What colors are available, what hues are available, what to look for, all of those things. Third thing, know how to read the certificates. I have the separate video about the certificates, hard to cover everything in one video, so go and check it out. You can apply those principles of how to read the certificate to pretty much to anyone else. They are quite similar one to another. Fourth thing, as I mentioned many times in this video, ask for the video of the sapphires under the natural light. That is very, very important, and a lot of people making those mistakes. They purchasing sapphires based on the pictures that made under the studio light or with a very intense artificial light, and when they receiving the stone, they usually receiving like a very dark blue stone that they are not happy with, obviously. So make sure you're requesting those. And the last thing, don't hesitate to ask. It's free. You can ask me questions in the comments. You can email me and set up the free consultation with me, and I'm gonna walk you through the entire process of choosing and making custom engagement ring. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Many of you haven't subscribed to my channel, unfortunately. I checked the statistic, only 2% of my viewers subscribe to the channel, so let's just fix that. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next one.